Welcome back to the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. This episode is possibly our most fun episode we're gonna have. We're gonna do a first round mock draft, all 32 teams, and we're gonna do some trades, people. We're gonna have fun with it. It's gonna be chaos. I can't wait to get into it. Is there anything you need to get off your chest, Lance, before we dive in?
Um, no, I don't think so, Andrew. Oh, you know what? Actually, real quick, I am glad you brought that up because it would have
Okay.
spaced my mind.
Oh,
I promise,
pictures.
pictures.
Yes, pictures.
So these are the
Oh
pictures
my goodness.
of baby
Look
girl.
at Landon. Look at Landon. Yep.
Dude, it was awesome. He has been so psyched to bring her home. Um,
That's fantastic.
yeah. So yeah, we have a baby girl named Elsie. She was born
Mm.
what was it, 5 pounds and 7 ounces? So just a tiny
Okay,
little
that's
thing.
not bad. That's not bad for
Not
being
bad.
3 weeks early.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So way better than the 4 pounds and what was it, 3 ounces that Landon was when he was born. So yeah, I'll take that any
Mm.
day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, pictures of all of us together at the hospital. Super good day.
Mm.
This was when she was getting her hearing test.
Yeah, yeah.
She aced that. She aced that. So
Mm.
she's golden.
Healthy baby
But yeah,
girl.
just some close-ups and planning getting to hold Elsie right after he
Mm.
got to the
Mm-hmm.
hospital.
He's already being a great big brother.
It's been so funny, man. He has been obsessed with finding her binky. Like whenever she cries, "Where's the binky at? I'm gonna go get it for her so that way she can feel better." Super funny. I
That's
love it.
awesome.
So yeah, man,
That's
it's been a
awesome,
lot of
man.
fun. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, figured I'd just share those baby pictures real quick. I will share more over the coming episodes as she gets bigger. So happy to share that with
Absolutely.
the family.
Yes, yes. Fantastic. And I'll share some Timothy pictures as well. Watch him grow, watch him start walking and all that good stuff.
Love it.
Okay. All right. Let's get this party started. Okay. So I have it loaded up, all 32 teams. Trades are on. So we were talking off screen that since both our teams are on the even side, it's kind of difficult to figure out who gets what. So what we're going to do is give Lance possibly the biggest gimme, give him the one pick, and then all the evens. I'll get the odds and the Vikings at 24. So, and I've heard some strange rumors back, like going back and forth on the Titans, but they've announced just basically today or yesterday that they heard offers, but they're sticking at one. So let's start this draft. And who do you want at pick one? Who could it be?
It's not who I want, but it's who they're gonna
Right,
pick. It's
right.
Cam Ward.
Easiest pick in history.
Dude, he's ranked number 20 on here. Like that
That's
blows my mind that he's gonna be the first
yeah,
pick. But he will
yeah,
be the
for
first
real,
pick.
for real. It's that quarterback
Blows my
tax.
mind.
Quarterback tax. Okay, you're back on the clock at two.
Um,
And what we're gonna do
I'm at
here
mhm.
is there's trade offers on this. We're gonna force trade to what we think is gonna happen. So, because I can force any trade I want. So, once we get to an area, which probably will be sooner rather than later, where we think, hey, there's gonna be a trade here, we'll just make it happen, and we can just guess at the compensation. But that's just an asterisk there.
Well, I think the Browns are gonna stand pat. And
Okay,
again, I'm
that
trying to
makes sense.
remember. I am not gonna pick the way I would pick. I'm gonna pick the way I think they would pick. So give me Hunter. I think they're missing out on
Okay.
Carter, but I think they're gonna go Hunter.
I mean, I don't see any problem with either one of those guys. Those two are one and two easy, and you can say flip flop either way, and I'm not going to argue with you. They're both fantastic, but okay, Travis Hunter, I like it. And to me, I get the third pick. This is also really easy. I do not think the Giants are picking a quarterback here. I think they are listening to offers, but I don't think the offer is going to be enough where Abdul Carter is sitting there, you're going to need multiple first round picks to get out of that. And I don't think anyone's willing to pay that. So I'm going to just stick and pick Abdul Carter.
Andrew, I've been hearing trade offers on this one. So
Okay. You going
go.
trade already?
Yeah, let's go to trades. Let's see who's willing to take the bait.
Okay. So for what PFF has
Chicago.
right now, we have the Jets, the Bengals at 17, Seahawks at 18, Buccaneers at 19, and Chiefs at 31. That's who the PFF version has. But
But we
again,
can
we can
force
pick
trades, right?
whoever we want. Oh yeah,
Because
we can
I
pick
don't think
whoever
this
we
is what it's
want.
going to be. Go back down to the menu. You're going to hate me for this, but I think this is what's going to happen. Chicago Bears.
See, I was gonna do this at 5. Honestly, I was gonna have the Bears trade with the Jaguars and take Genty. I think that's what you're going.
Yeah, they're not waiting. They're gonna. I think they're gonna go ahead. And
Okay.
hard part is how do we make
Okay.
this work? This is the hard part.
So that's 6 picks. So they're probably gonna have to give up their two. The Bears
Yes,
will, and probably something else.
I'm guessing a future second.
Now, see, this says they're not interested because they're not offering. So this
Yeah,
is not going to go green at all.
but
But
I don't think that's
this
going to be
makes
enough.
sense.
I think you got to
You
give
think
up a
they need
second
more?
next year, and then I think you got to give
Okay,
up 148. So let's go 148,
gotcha.
and then maybe you get 171 from
Back
the Patriots, and
makes
like
sense.
round 6 or 5. Let's go round 5 next year. No, we'll go round 6. I think round 6 next year for the
The Bears are
Patriots.
giving up.
No, the Patriots. I
The
think that's what
Patriots are
they'd
going to
get
give up.
back.
Okay,
I think that's what would happen. Something close to that. Not a one
okay,
for
totally
one.
fair.
Okay, let's go with
Let's
that.
make it
But
happen.
that's
Forced trade. Bears are on the clock, and you're saying Genty.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I was going to do this at 5, but yep. Boom. Ash to
That
Genty.
should make you
Okay.
happy. We just made them bleed an extra pick.
No, that I was so at 5, I was gonna have them trade with the Bears and get a 2 and then next year's 3. That's what I was gonna do at 5.
Mm.
So you pretty much did the same thing I was gonna do, just a little earlier, a little bit more tax for going up to 4. Okay, so that throws a little curveball into mine with the Jaguars at 5. I don't think they trade down now because no one's calling with a crazy offer for a spectacular player. There's good players, but it's not like someone needs a spot filled and they're willing to give up a lot of compensation. So this is a stick and pick. And again, what I would do is I would go McMillan. I love McMillan. But what I've been hearing, what I think is going to happen, this is all about kind of what we're thinks possibly going to happen. Everyone's saying Mason Graham. I know he's fantastic. I wouldn't do it, but I think that's what they're going to do. So we're going to go Mason Graham. All right. Raiders.
Dude, if that's what they
Didn't get
do,
Genty.
you got to take McMillan.
I like that. I do like that. They
I
don't
think
really
that's a
have
good,
any bona fide ones as far as receivers go. Yeah, I like that a lot.
yeah. I think McMillan's who they would
McMillan.
take if everything plays out the way we're saying.
Yeah, yeah. And then if this plays out this way, so in our last mock drafts, I had the Jets. I think we both had Jets taking tight end here. If the supposed best tackle falls to them, I don't see them passing that to pair off with Fashano that they drafted last year. So I see them think, oh, thank you guys. We'll take Will Campbell. I don't know if I think he's the best in this draft. I'm a Mimbo guy, kind of a guy. I really like him. But Will Campbell's widely known as the best tackle in this draft. So I don't think they're going to pass on that. I'm going to go Will Campbell.
Mm. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Mike Green to Carolina. I think Mike Green is
Okay.
rated way too high in these drafts. Like
Hmm.
in for PFF, I don't think they're acknowledging off the field concerns enough. But let's go look at the other edge options.
Edges.
It's just so weird. Like the way that the edge room lines up for people is so different because
Yeah.
the names I have heard being thrown around for Carolina are Michael Williams and I don't even see him on there. Jalen Walker. Is he tumbled down too? Or
They might be linebackers.
is that what he's
They might
considered as
be
a
they
linebacker?
might be considered linebackers in here. Oh, there's Mikael Williams at
Yeah, there's Mikael Williams.
38. 38 they
So
have him ranked.
weird.
But I'm pretty sure that Williams is a linebacker.
Jalen
Walker, I mean,
Walker's
yeah,
right
Walker.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Jalen Walker. I've just been hearing a lot of rumors for Jalen Walker going
Yeah.
to Carolina.
There's a lot of mocks. There's a lot of mocks with that happening. I like it. Okay, the Saints at 9. This is interesting. So I've been hearing some rumors about them as well, and I kind of think it makes a little sense. So everyone's mocking quarterback here. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people are mocking quarterback here. But I've been hearing some rumors that they might actually do something smart and take best player they can or trade out. I haven't decided yet, but not going quarterback. And looking at the quarterback class next year, which is projected to, as of right now, projected to be much better. They got the man Archie Manning's going to be in that class. There's going to be a couple other guys. So I don't think they go quarterback here. Let me look at the board and see what makes sense. Um, I might just trade down, but I'm wondering who would want to trade up to get a guy. Let's see.
Tight end, Tyler
Uh,
Warren falls down, Jade Brown or Jade
you
Barron.
know, you just mentioned something. I think the Colts are going to trade up to get Tyler Warren. So I am going to make a trade with the Colts. Okay, so 14 and 9. It's not a huge jump, but it's a little bit. So I think that the Colts are going to give up their third and let's say it's 5 spots and a future third. And I think that should do it. I think that's fair enough because it's in the top 10. It's a big tax for that, but it's not like astronomical. So
Mm.
I'm going to go with this. They're going to give up a third, a future third to go up to 9. Oh, wait, it's going to decline. Then they go to 4 straight. My bad. There we go. All right. Let's go get your boy, Tyler Warren, best tight end, because the Colts, that's their biggest need on offense, other than
Mhm.
quarterback, but they're not going to get a quarterback in this draft. So let's go Tyler Warren at 9. Okay, now you
All
got the
right, the
Patriots on the
Patriots.
clock who traded back.
Did Membu get drafted? Oh no, he's right there.
No,
Yeah, I
he's
think if you're
right. Yeah.
there, Membu's got to be the pick here. If you're New England, I
Yeah.
think that's your biggest need.
Yeah, they need O-line for sure. I do like that. Okay. Okay, I have some thoughts for the Niners, but I'm not going to do anything crazy yet. Um, so they need a lot of help. Their O-line's getting old. I mean, their whole team's getting old, actually. But I think right now, right here, they're going to go best cornerback available. And PFF has Jade Barron. I kind of think Will Johnson is the best available. Now, there's been some injury concerns with him. He was injured last year, but I think his Melker's going to check out. And I think that the 49ers are going to go Will Johnson here. And I got some more thoughts for them later on in this draft. In this first round draft. Just a little teaser there. Okay.
Mhm.
12. Your Cowboys. Your Cowboys.
Oh man, I think they're going to do it, but I think they're going to go for Mike Green in this scenario.
Oh, interesting.
If the
Okay.
board falls this way, I think they'll look
Yeah.
past the red marks. They don't have a plan in place with Micah Parsons. He lost to
It
Marcus
might be
Lawrence.
his replacement. Yeah. They
Yeah,
might pair them together this year and could be looking at a replacement going forward. That makes some sense. Is that where you're going?
yep. Let's do it.
Okay. Mike Green. Okay. The Dolphins. Interesting. They have a decent amount of needs. Tackle's one of them, but the tackles that are left aren't quite at the 13 spot good. If there was a Membo, if there was a Campbell, or if those kind of guys, they would jump at the podium to get that guy. But those guys aren't available. So another need they need is cornerback. So I think Jahdae Barron makes sense here. Um, I mean, Walter Nolan just staring us in the face, being this highly rated, but none of these teams super need a D tackle right now. So I think I'm going Jahdae Barron for the Dolphins because they're already trying to trade Jalen Ramsey. I don't think they're going to get it done before the draft, but I think they do get it done. I think someone will pay for Jalen Ramsey because he's still got a couple really good years left. So they're going to replace him with Jahdae Barron. The Saints at
All right, Saints
14.
14. Hmm. I just feel like this is an offensive line or offensive pick. And this also doesn't account for the fact that the Saints have lost Ramczyk, right? I think is his name. Uh,
Yes. Yes, they do need a
he is
tackle.
now gone.
He retired.
What are the highest tackles on the list?
We had Josh
Oh,
Simmons,
Simmons.
Kelvin Banks, Gray Zabel, kind of more of a guard, but then Josh Connolly Jr. So the top two are Simmons and Kelvin Banks.
I'm looking at it and I'm thinking it's an either like Luther Burden pick or Josh Simmons
That's
pick.
interesting. Yeah.
I just feel like the Kellen Moore needs to impress with his offense this year. That's got to be the
hmm
number one priority because
Uh,
that's what he came to is to come in to fix the offense. So I'm just trying to think. Josh Simmons just feels like a little high here.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, they could trade down again.
I'm just trying to think of who would be a
Yeah.
trade up candidate. Um, that's not bad. Would they do it? Can you go to the trade section for me? What did the Denver Broncos have?
2051-85.
They're not really doing great on picks. They're not going to be
Yeah.
aggressive here. That does not line up for me. Um,
Okay.
I'm just looking else who might be. Let's go to Arizona. Go to Arizona for me.
Arizona. That's a high second. 47. It's not bad. 16, 47, and 78.
So it's two spots away. I'd say that Arizona's going to be about 16 and 78,
Okay. 16 and 78, 414,
and I
and
think and I think that would be it. I think that's all they would need
that
to
makes
do.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep, yep. Let's make the
Perfect.
trade.
Let's force that trade. Okay, now who are the
And then
Cardinals trading up to
the
get?
Cardinals would select Walter Nolan.
That hurts both our hearts right now, but I don't
It makes
disagree.
sense.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
Jonathan
disagree.
Gannon would be like,
hmm
yeah. I think that works out better for both sides.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Um, okay, that's interesting because I had a crazy scenario here because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Falcons don't have any picks. They only have five. So I was going to trade down with these guys, but this is where I also have the 49ers trade up and draft Walter Nolan. But you beat me to it. So I don't know if they're going to do it now. Let me see who's on the board. If there's anyone they would trade up that high. I don't think there is because they don't super need a safety. So I don't think I'm going to have them trade up. But I do want the Falcons to trade down. I think that makes a ton of sense. Who am I going to trade down with? Um, Shot Campbell's there. That's too high for that. Yeah, there's no reason for that. Okay, I think, man, I don't want this to happen. Well, you know what? That would make some sense. That would make some sense. I think I'm gonna go to the Buccaneers because the Buccaneers, they need some edge rushing help. And they might be fearing that the Bengals, who need anything they can get on defense, might be looking at best edge rusher on the board. So I'm going to trade down with the Buccaneers to do
I like it.
it.
It's a smart move.
It's not too far down, so it's 4 spots. So it might be 84, or could they get away with like a fourth this year and a fourth next year? I think they can get away with that. 4 spots down in the mid-teens. I think I'll do that. Force this trade. Okay, and now the Buccaneers are on the clock. I don't know if I am going to go for this highest rated one or not. I might. I just want to look at it. It's between James Pierce and Uzurike. Hmm. I'll just go with Donovan. Let's just go there. He doesn't have like the personality issues that James Pierce Jr. has. And if you're going to trade up for someone, you want no red flags. So we're going Donovan here. All right. To the Saints, who've traded down twice now.
By the way, smart move on the Donovan pick. I've been hearing steam for him going to Tampa Bay, so good call.
Yeah. And they didn't have to give up much to go up 4 spots just to make sure they got their guy. See, I'm a proponent of trading up to get your guy. If you really want someone and you're afraid he might not be there, go get him.
Uh,
Luther Burden's still there. Josh Simmons now might be a thing.
who's available for trade? Like who's interested?
Um, let's
Is it the
see. The
Steelers?
Charges. It's the Charges.
No, I think the Saints are going to stay put. They're going to stay put. The
Okay.
question I have in my mind is it Simmons? Is it Burden? And that's what I just
Yeah.
Igbuka could be someone too that's on their mind.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go Simmons. Just with Ramczyk
Okay.
now being out of the picture for
Yeah.
sure,
That makes sense.
I think you got to make sure you have a good blindside protector
Okay. Yeah.
place.
Let's go Simmons. Okay. All right. The Bengals. So they need any defense they can get. And sneakily, offensive line might not be the worst case scenario for them, but at 17, they'll get O-line later in the draft. They got to go defense here. But which way am I gonna go? There's not that high of rated defensive tackles left, really. Kenneth Grant's good, but not necessarily at 17. There's no edge rushers, really. Jahad Campbell's interesting, but with Jahad Campbell, he is very talented, but I mean, he's like a top 7 talent in this draft, but there's some injury concerns. He's had some shoulder issues. I think there's a knee thing popping up. So I kind of think he slides a little bit. He's still gonna be a first round pick, but I don't think the Bengals are gonna go there here. And there's not really a lot that they might like. So don't know if anyone would trade with them. Who do we got to trade? We have the Falcons and the Ravens. This one's tough.
I mean,
This,
I'm just thinking out loud here, but Malachi Starks is there, and it just depends on people's board. But the
yeah,
Steelers, did
I
they
thought of
think
that
about Malachi
too.
Starks?
I was thinking of that too, but I kind of think they need quarterback more than a safety. And I don't think they're
But
going to trade up to 17 because no one on this board ahead of them is going to draft a quarterback. They can just sit. If they're going to draft a quarterback for the first pick, which I personally, I have the 21. Spoiler alert, that's what I'm doing. Um, but there's no need to trade a 17 to get him because Seahawks aren't doing it, Broncos aren't doing it, Falcons aren't doing it. So they're cool. Um, it's interesting though. Let's see. Does anyone desperately need a safety? Not really. I might just have to do it. I don't think anyone's going to call them to trade up, and they're just going to have to take the best player available, which, as of right now, is Malachi Starks. Would they prefer D-line or linebacker? Most likely, but I don't see anyone calling up for any of these guys right now. So I'm just going to draft Malachi Starks.
Hmm.
Great player. It's going to help their defense out. They need help, but not a position that they would have wanted, I don't think.
I think the Seahawks are going to draft for need and miss out on talent. So,
They have a lot of needs.
I mean, really, it was interesting listening to that podcast, and they're like, they literally draft, they design their boards to look at the needs first, which is astounding. That was
Yeah.
the way they phrased it, and I was like, man, that is so
Uh-huh.
weird. But then they went over the past drafts, and it's like, it makes sense. Can we look at the tackles?
That's a tackle. Kelvin Banks,
Kevin Banks
Sable,
is right
Conley
there. I can see
Jr.
that. And then can we go back to the big board real quick?
And I'm sorry, but Donovan Jackson's a guard. I don't know why they have him as a tackle. Anyway,
I think they're just outside of range for someone to call him. I don't think that I don't think the
yeah,
Chargers would be desperate enough yet. I don't think they see a threat in front of them.
yeah,
So go ahead.
yeah.
Let's go ahead and go back to tackle. I think they'll go with Kelvin Banks.
Okay.
Um,
That does spoil some of my plans. I had a thought on him if he fell, which makes total sense. I don't think he's going to fall as far as I was thinking, but I had a thought on that one. But that makes sense. So Kelvin Banks to the Seahawks. All right, Falcons, you're back on the clock. Let's see. What do I think they're going to go? They got their draft pick compensation, so I don't think they're going to trade down again. Um, Receiver might be kind of a sneaky thing they need because they have Drake London, who's awesome, but outside of him, they don't really have a lot. And we all know how we both feel about Kyle Pitts. Crazy talent, but can't show anything for it. But they really need an edge rusher, and I don't know if there's one that's high enough. So I might have to go receiver. Pierce Jr. maybe? Hmm. So it's between James Pierce Jr. or Luther Burden. Not sure which one I'm going to go. I honestly think Luther Burden's a little bit high on PFF. I think he should be in the mid 20s. So I think I'm going to go edge rusher for them. I'm going to go James Pierce Jr. They traded down, they got an extra pick. Now he's not a top 15 pick at 19. Makes a little bit more sense. So I'm going to go James Pierce Jr. They should have drafted a edge rusher last year and they didn't. And they have like the worst sack totals in the whole league. So they need help there. So that's where I'm going. Now we got the Broncos.
just trying to think what they're going to do. I don't strike them. It doesn't strike me as a burden team. I'm not feeling the vibe that is
Yeah,
where
yeah. They definitely could use a receiver, but I do hear you on the burden piece.
like maybe I just feel like that Denver might, like with Sean Payton as the head coach, does he look at someone like Egbuka and give him an edge up because he went to the Ohio State, was able to, it matters to some school or to some coaches
Yeah.
to see the
Isn't that where
success
Michael
at
Thomas
college.
went?
Did he
I,
go to
I for some reason I think he did. I could be wrong, could be way off, but I'm getting that vibe. And that would make sense
I
if
can't
he went
remember.
to go get his Michael Thomas type.
Let's look it up and find out. Yeah, he was for the Ohio State.
Ah, I
Just
got that right.
yeah, nice job. Let's go Egbuka. I feel like
Okay.
it's a sneaky pick.
It
It
makes
may not
sense.
be,
Yeah.
but I could see it
Yeah.
happening.
It's either that or Marion Hampton for me. But with how deep this
Oh
running back
yeah,
class
Amari
is,
Hampton.
they
Yeah.
could easily get a running back in the second or third round. So I do like that. The receivers drop off Running backs drop a little bit, but not bad. So that
No,
makes a lot of
yeah,
sense.
I think there's running backs later on they could get.
Oh, for sure. Okay,
Oh,
I'm not
oh,
going
here
to
we
take any
go.
time.
Here we go.
Not going to take any time. Shadur Sanders, come on down. Makes too much
Well, this
sense.
one doesn't
Makes
take
too
any
much
time
sense.
either. Just go to Colston Loveland because
I know,
they're gonna
right? I
run to
was
the
thinking that
podium.
same thing. I mean, honestly, um, Harbaugh might think, who do I grab? Which one of my boys do I grab? Loveland or Grant? Because he loves them both. But yeah,
Well, in
I'm
this
with you.
scenario, Andrew, I think that Los Angeles would beat Pittsburgh up to the podium because they would know. Like I'm just saying, like
Okay.
if things played out this way,
Yeah,
like
that's true.
hurry up and get your dumb pick out of the way so I can
That's
get
true.
the guy I want.
That's very true. Very true. Oh, I get back to back here because I'll get the Vikings coming up. Okay. Packers are on the clock. They never draft a first round wide receiver, even though they should. So I'm already scratching that off the board. Even though Matthew Golden would make sense here, get that speedster who
Yes,
might stay on the field, but they don't do it. I'm sorry. They should, but they don't. Another position they do need is edge rusher. And I've been hearing a lot of talk about Shamar Stewart going there. And I think I touched on this on a previous episode, but he's raw. He needs a lot of refining, but he has so many physical tools that if he pans out, he could be like a top 10, top 5 edge rusher in the league. He might not pan out though, but I think that's where they're going. I'm hearing talk of that. To me, I would pick a wide receiver because I don't trust their wide receivers to stay healthy or to be all that great, but they don't do that. So I'm going Shamar Stewart. Okay. Man, this is interesting. The way this board fell, there are like 5 guys I would draft right now. Like I would run to the podium for 5 guys. Jahad Campbell. I mean, if Flores, if they trust the medicals are clear, Jahad Campbell falling this far, Flores would be begging Questley Mensa to turn that card in. And Luther Burden III makes sense as our slot receiver because we don't truly have one. And then Kenneth Grant makes a lot of sense to get our defensive line more ramped up. And Hampton's here. Gray Zabel's here. So there's so many awesome guys. This is a classic trade down. And we don't have many picks. So I'm going to trade down. Let me think how far. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Do I want that to happen? Not really, but would it happen? It might. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to trade down with the Bills. Let's see. I don't think. Oh, they're actually calling. Well, that's random. So this is actually be easy to guess at. I don't think the six. I think that's gonna be too much. Yeah, that's too much. Um,
really? No, that
yeah,
seems right to me.
I've done a lot of mock drafts and they think that's too much. So I might throw in like a 5 next year. It's still not enough. 4 next year? No. I might not be able to get the 62, but I can get both of these guys, which isn't bad, and I probably can get more. Yep. Okay. And I might just do that and then throw in like a 5 next year.
That's
Go down
crazy.
6 spots, and I know exactly who I'm taking for the Bills. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm not gonna offer, I'm just gonna force it. I won't even let me force it. There we go. Just gonna do that. Get a lot of draft pick compensation to go down 6 spots. And then the Bills, they are gonna take Jahad Campbell. Third
That
linebacker
is a
core. They have some decent linebackers.
stellar. Yes,
They have some decent
absolutely.
linebackers, but they can use
Yes.
just a stud on that side. So Jahad
Yep.
Campbell, it makes way too much sense. Oh, and then I get a third pick because I get here. Okay. The Texans, they need 2 main things on offense. Their defense is great. I love their defense, but they need O-line and they need a second receiver. And I don't like the O-line available right here. So I think I'm going to go receiver. I'm not going to go Luther Burden because I think that is pretty much just right in line with what's his name? I can't remember. I'm not thinking of his name right now. He got hurt last year. Um, oh
Oh,
my
Tank Dell.
goodness. Yes, Tank Dell. They're kind of similar play styles. And they're smaller. They're really good slot receivers. So I think I'm going to go the speedster. I think I'm gonna go with Matthew Golden here. He's also smaller, but he's not a slot guy. He's an outside guy, and I think that that could really help CJ Stroud, someone over the top. They already got Nico Collins, who runs all the routes, who's awesome. So I'm gonna go Matthew Golden here.
Hmm.
Now we have the Rams on the clock.
Can we go to the tight ends?
Okay.
Don't think Arroyo would go here. And then can we go to cornerback?
There are some decent ones out there still. A lot of people have Harrison higher than 43 as a first round pick.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think about. Is I think they're gonna feel like they could get someone else there. So let's go to tackle.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean, they
they'll.
still have Grace Zabel listed as a tackle, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but I think they'll go Josh Connerly here.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
I think
sense.
they'll. I think they'd go for a tackle. I know that Zabel's listed as someone there, but I think he's more of an inside outside in
Yeah,
between.
I kind
And
of agree.
yeah,
I think to start out his career, he's going to be a guard. He could go to tackle, but he'd be a really good guard or center, a decent tackle. I don't know if he's going to pan out as tackles as much, but okay, I like that. That makes sense. All right, the Ravens. This is interesting because they don't really need what's at top on this board. They don't really need defensive tackles. They're pretty good there. They do need a guard, but I don't know if they're going to go that route. And there are a certain few pieces on this board that's still available. And I think this is a classic trade up scenario. I was thinking where I was going to do this. I was thinking, am I going to go Commanders? I think the Commanders are actually going to draft someone. I don't think they're trading down. And then the Chiefs, they need some legit O-line help. So I think they're not going to trade down. But the Ravens, I think they might. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a crazy trade. Let's see. Let's go Giants. And then I'm gonna probably say the Giants have to give up their 65. And I think that's probably pretty fair because they're trading back in the first round. Or do you think that's too much?
I mean that doesn't feel like a ton because you'd be getting a second and a third back for the first, maybe a fourth
Hmm.
instead, but that fourth is low, right?
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
They have the 99, which is a late third. But I kind of think it's this.
yeah,
Let's just do it. Let's just do it. And then you don't trade them into the first round unless you're getting a quarterback.
quarterback.
And I don't know their rankings here. That doesn't make much sense. So I'm going to go Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart to the Giants. They
Makes
got
sense.
Abdul Carter, and then they go get Jackson Dart, and Jackson Dart can sit for a year behind Russell Wilson. I like it.
Yeah, I think the Lions go with Gray Zabel here. That's the way the board falls to them.
Yeah, yeah, they did lose. I can remember his name. He went to the
Kevin
Titans, I
Zeitler.
believe. Yes, Zeitler. I don't know why. I never remember his name. So they sneaky are a little bit weaker on one of their best areas, their O line. So that makes sense. That does make sense. It sucks, but it makes sense. Okay, the Commanders. This is very interesting, the way this board fell, and I think they're gonna do something crazy because there's a player that's still on the board that to me should have gone already a long time ago. And the Commanders aren't weak in this area, but Austin Eckler's old. I think they go Amari and Hampton and have him make a great duo with Brian Robinson Jr. Because Robert Williams Jr. is pretty good. He's not great, but he's pretty good. And then to get Marion Hampton to pair with that, I mean, what they're probably looking for in this draft is like a D tackle, edge rusher, O line. But none of those really fell. Kenneth Grant is there. They could go there. But with Hampton still here, I don't know how you pass up on that. So I'm going to draft Amari Hampton right here. And then I got my boys back on the clock. And I think the way the board fell, the way we're doing this, I think it's a pretty easy decision because um, John Campbell gone.
Hmm.
That's who we
Hmm.
traded away. Gray Zipple gone. Um, Amari Hampton gone. So there's really only D tackles left. And so let's go. Oh, they have Derek Harmon at 42. That's disrespectful. I kind of like Harmon better than Grant, honestly.
Really? I'm surprised how much you don't like Grant, I feel
No,
like
no, I
Grant's
like
getting some
Grant.
strong hate.
I do like Grant. I just think Harmon is very underrated on PFF. I think Harmon's slightly above Grant. But let me keep looking here. What kind of O linemen are out there? No. I think they had, yeah, they have Jackson as a tackle. So there's been a lot of steam that Minnesota's going to draft Donovan Jackson. He's actually a guard. I don't know why they have him a tackle. He can play both, but he's really a guard. That's very tempting to me. It's between Jackson and Derek Harmon. But you know what? I think I'm just going to do it. I think they're going to go offensive line. I'm going to go Donovan Jackson. Put him at left guard, have perhaps a top five, top three O line in this league. Great thing for JJ McCarthy to be protected, open up run lanes for everybody. That's where I'm going to go. And then I think it's back on me here with a 31, which the Chiefs are probably very upset that there's no really good O lineman left. Let me see what's out there. Yeah, there's no way there's any tackles left for him. Are there any guards? Not really. So this could, ooh, this is interesting. Do I do it? Do I do it? Do I get crazy? I might just get crazy because there's no one they would really love. Kenneth Grant is still there. They might go Kenneth Grant, but they already have Chris Jones. So do they really need to spend a first round pick on that when they really just need some O linemen? And the best O linemen here, both of those are gonna be there at their next pick. I think I'm going crazy here. It's crazy time. You never know what's gonna happen in the draft. So what I'm gonna do, it's not that far of a drop. So they probably won't have to. The Browns won't have to give it much. Probably like the 104. It's two spots. It's not a lot. And then the Browns are the Browns. They're not smart. They're gonna go get Milrow.
You know what I don't understand? And I really mean this in all honesty. Why is it that teams don't have to trade or pay more to trade back to get the fifth year option?
That's fair. That fifth year
I,
option is
I
very
just
valuable.
I just it drives me nuts because like I hear these trade values and it's like, yeah, they should only have to give up a fourth to move up a couple spots to get back in the first round. No, you're getting
Hmm.
a discounted deal of an extra year. You're going to pay the
Especially
premium.
quarterback. There's a quarterback premium tax. Yeah, I agree. There should
I
be at
just feel
least.
like to me, if I'm the Chiefs, right, I'm demanding that you give me you give me what you're talking about, but you're going to give me a future pick next year
Yeah,
because if you want that
yeah,
deal, I'm going to get something back in return that's going to make it a lucrative offer for me. And I don't know. I don't feel like it's enough. But
yeah.
I'm greedy when it comes to picks. You know that. We just saw that in our mock that we just did earlier.
Hmm.
I always want more, Andrew. More, more,
And
more.
I think I know where you're going here because this guy fell to you and you just talked about him.
I mean, you're making me wonder if I should actually like Kenneth Grant or not, but I feel like he fell to
Oh no,
me.
trust me, I really love him. I just think that Derek Harmon has a little bit more potential just because of his pass rush prowess he has. Kenneth Grant is a little bit of mix of run and pass, but Derek Harmon could be a legit pass rushing D tackle. Could. Might not
Well,
be.
this is I'm gonna pick Grant right here, but I'm gonna make a prediction,
Okay.
Andrew.
Okay.
So
What you
this is
got?
my prediction. So Kenneth Grant, you're an Eagle. Congratulations. Welcome to one of the best organizations in the
Congratulations.
NFL. Um, but looking at it, my prediction is that things are going to go one of two ways for the Eagles. Either they're going to trade it for Walter Nolan. Like as I'm watching this, as we've done our drafts, he's going early.
That's
He's going to
possible. Walter
go.
Nolan is awesome. Yeah. He went
I think he's going to
14.
go by like 15, 18. And
Hmm.
the Eagles might be willing to part with those picks and not cry about it because they've got 20
Yeah.
picks over the next 2 years. So they can make it work. So I think that's one possibility. So that's possibility A.
I
I
like
give it like
that.
a 30% chance. Possibility B is the way we just did our board and we've been looking at boards. I feel like the Eagles might be in store for a Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell year 2 experiment, but this time along the defensive line. I loved the way that
Hmm.
the board was shaping at the end there. Nick Scourton was still available.
Right.
Um, I think that was a great pick. And then I think there was a couple other defensive linemen that were available. And then you had Grant that was
Right.
available at the end there.
Hmm.
But this might be day one, day two. We might see the Eagles make a trade up in the second round to get their other guy to be able to fortify the defensive line and go make another run for another Super Bowl. Another person
Hmm.
I forgot to point out, I went back and forth on him, Maxwell. Maxwell might be the guy in the second round, the cornerback from Kentucky.
Oh, Hairston.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that's the other guy that they would look at. But those are the people I'm looking at for the Eagles to potentially draft if Walter Nolan's off the board early.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, Walter Nolan is an interesting player. He could be like around a pick 10 or 11, or he could fall to high teens, low 20s. There's like so much volatility in this draft after like pick 8 or 9
Yeah,
that
there's
any
just
of these guys could go anywhere.
there's no true consensus on where people feel
Yeah.
like someone should be drafted. I mean, it really
Hmm.
is because like I still struggle. Is Mike Green really a number 12 pick?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's already got baggage he's carrying. If he gets one sexual assault incident on his record in the NFL, like his ability to continue to play without issue is going to
Hmm.
be highly unlikely.
Hmm.
Um, and like Shamar Stewart, like I got why you put him to Green Bay, but the guy is so raw. How could you make him a
Yeah.
first round pick? I don't know.
Yeah.
Shador Sanders, like we just talked about in our previous
Hmm.
podcast episode about the what's the right word? The maturity issue,
Hmm.
the accountability issue. Like, does that come into play? Yeah, man, I don't know. So many moving variables, and I really do think the whole. I think it makes a lot of sense with those trades that you made for quarterbacks. The Dart Milrow trades makes
Hmm.
sense in my mind because as you get to the end of the first round, quarter or teams get desperate because they want that fifth year option, and it makes
Yeah.
sense. You want that additional. I mean, the Eagles back in 2022, they got Nolan Smith, the 31st pick of the draft. Guess what? As an Eagles
Hmm.
fan, I'm ecstatic that we get one more year of Nolan Smith
Of rookie.
on our
Yep. Of
team.
rookie deal. Yep.
I mean, it's a huge win for us. I mean, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, both are in rookie deals, and we get the
Hmm.
fifth year options for both players. Thank you so much, NFL, for letting him drop to us. Cooper, or not Cooper Jean, Quinyon Mitchell. Thank you so much, NFL, for letting us take a guy in the
Hmm.
early 20s and have a fifth year option with him. So, yeah, this is interesting. We'll have to eventually look at these drafts side by side to see
Yeah. Yeah. I
how well
saved
we
the other
do.
ones. So yeah, we'll definitely look at these.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds good, man.
All right. Well, this was a lot of fun, but this is definitely our last mock draft since the draft is literally Thursday, which we're recording this on Wednesday, so it's tomorrow.
Wow.
I'm really interested to see how many trades because the reason why I was going to go crazy on trades is because there's been no first round trades anywhere so far. Everyone has their original first round trade. Usually there's some kind of movement like there's this player is traded for the Cardinals first round pick that they get a stud, something like that. That happens all the time. Not necessarily as much of picks for picks, including the first round. That doesn't happen as much sometimes, like the Vikings last year. But that's I think that's more on the rare occasion. it's more players are traded first round picks all the time. But this year it's different. Everyone has their first round pick, which tells you that everyone has different views of this draft and no one really knows what other teams are doing.
That is such a great point. I love the way you emphasize that. That's why we don't have
Yeah.
trades because there's no agreement on the board. Um,
Yep.
that's such a good point. Hey, maybe this year we'll have a Jerry Jones moment where he shows us his entire board again. You remember that?
Yeah, that was so dumb. And apparently
Um,
he's made comments that he's working on some substantive trades. So congratulations on that, I guess.
oh, it's another Joe Milton style trade. Like earth shattering.
Hmm.
QB of the future style trade. Yeah,
Hmm.
man, it's going to be interesting. I do feel super confident about my Ashton Genty prediction going to the Chicago Bears. I've seen a lot of steam pick up
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
I just saw Brian Baldinger from the NFL Network just put out a video yesterday saying there's going to be a big trade in the top five. And who's the guy? I mean, to me, it's Genty. I think that
Yep.
Hunter and Abdul are
Yeah,
going
the
to both
first
go
three
off.
are basically locks. The first three are basically locks. It just
Right,
depends on what
right.
order. But yeah, those are base locks. And the Patriots, they do need a lot of help. So it would make sense for them to trade back. And I've seen some mock where Ginty's going to the Jaguars. I'm thinking, I don't know. I mean, I know he's a
I don't
fantastic
understand that.
talent,
But
but they
why?
already have
What's wrong with?
ETN, they have Tank Bigsby.
Yeah,
So why would you
yeah.
do that?
What's wrong with that mix-up?
Trading back to the Bears, if it's five at the Jaguars, trading back to the Bears, getting an additional second round pick and some change, and then you pick at 10 and get a tremendous player, that makes a ton of sense because you don't need to pick Ginty at five. You can get another second round pick and pick like I don't know, a McMillan at 10 if he's still there, or Jalen Walker, or
Or trade back up.
Mason Graham who's
Trade back
there.
up to go get your
Right,
guy, but then
right.
you got more draft capital in the end than if you
Hmm.
had stayed where you were. Um,
Yep,
well, like the other part I was going to mention to you too, Andrew, is that I thought about Armand Membu at 4 for the Patriots, but then I went ahead and made
yeah,
that trade, and boom, Armand Membu was still there at 10. So
yep,
if that's what
yep,
you're going for, I think
absolutely.
you feel pretty confident if near New England.
Hmm.
Yeah. The hard part in this equation, man, is you're dealing with some overly arrogant owners and some highly desperate general managers.
Yeah.
And they complicate the equation because,
Hmm.
man, the way they think just is astounding sometimes. So,
Hmm.
yeah. Yep.
Oh wow. Well, this was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun, and then we're gonna have so much reaction at the draft tomorrow. Man, it's here, man. It's here. It's finally
Yep.
here.
Yep.
I love speculation about the draft. I love these mock drafts, but I just wanted to get here, get through it, so we can get to the off season, get to training camp, getting all that fun stuff. See the actual schedule that's coming up.
Yep.
Probably, I think it's usually like end of April, beginning May in that range. It's like right after the draft.
Hmm.
And I have some speculation that everyone's saying Minnesota's going to pick a cornerback or safety. I don't think that at all. Because I think, I mean, I've mentioned this before, and there's been more steam on this, and he's still available. And that's Asante Samuel Jr. He's still there. No one's picked him up. Now, everyone probably is thinking the same thing. Let's try to pick him up after the comp window ends. Sure, there's probably more teams aiming for him, but there's been some behind the scenes things pointing that there's a really good chance he's a Viking. I think it's a more than 50% chance. I really
Yep.
do. So I don't see Minnesota pick it. So I'll say this. If Minnesota does not pick a corner in the first 3 rounds, like trade backs, they have a third round pick. If they don't pick a corner in the first 3 rounds, I can almost guarantee they have a deal with Asante Samuel Jr.
Mm.
If they do pick a corner in the first 3 rounds, maybe not. Because if they already have a ton of corners in their room. None of them are first round pick worthy, but um, if they get Asante Samuel Jr., they don't need to waste the pick on that. So
Hmm.
if the first round, second or third round pick is a corner, then probably not. But if they don't get one in the first 2 days, I'm telling you, Asante Samuel Jr. is going to be wearing purple next year.
I like it, man. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is a lot of fun. You got any last comments?
Are you a draft day guy? the movie? Like, is that something that you watch?
So
I've seen
that's
some back and forth
interesting.
about it that's pretty funny. So I just was curious.
That's interesting. So I like the concept of the movie, and I like seeing, what Hollywood sees as like a as a front office, a general manager, and the decisions they got to make and the tough life they have. I enjoy that, but overall, I'm okay with it. I've watched it a couple
Mhm.
times. If it's like if I'm scrolling through some channels, I see it on, and there's nothing else on, sure, I'll watch it. But I'm not the kind of guy that has to watch it every year before the draft. I'll just say that.
That's fair. Um, the part that always just makes me laugh is that part where the Jaguars trade for three second round picks or something like that to get out of the first round. That was just comical. So funny
Hmm.
because one, it's a horrible trade. It's like so cheesy, but
Hmm.
two, there's a part of you that could almost see something like that happening, where you just like scratch your head, like, what? Why would they ever do that? So
Hmm.
yeah. Um, I think my biggest takeaway from that movie or like gripe is the Cleveland Browns. Seriously, that's the team that we want
That's
to
the
see
team.
draft.
That's the team.
Wow. That's all I can say is wow. I mean, I'm glad it's not the
Hmm.
Cowboys. So, I guess I'll just count my
That's fair.
blessings, Andrew. I'll just count my blessings. So,
Oh man.
yeah, but no, that's it for me, man. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
It'll be fun, and it'll be fun to talk about the draft after we see the results come in.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us with our last mock draft. We'll see how accurate we are. Um, we'll catch you next time in our reaction video to all these draft picks. We're probably going to spend a ton of time on that. But please follow, subscribe, like, comment, all that fun stuff. And thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks, guys.